What's going on, gamers? Merry Christmas. It's your favorite podcast on YouTube. I'm the ACMJS, joined by Fallen
Oh,
Hero,
fallen, fallen.
whatever the numbers
The
are.
name that never ever changes.
Yeah. Uh, I have a feeling this is going to be a very short podcast. We have no idea. Um, Around this time of year, we're always busy. It's why we didn't put out a podcast last week or the week before. A lot of things to talk about. Um, let's see. The Video Game Awards happened. Was it last Friday or the Friday before? I think it was the Thursday, the 12th, I believe. Um, and there were a lot of upsets at the Video Game Awards, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, there were a few. I'll give my opinions as we go along and the list of
Um,
stuff.
so as the Video Games Awards were going, usually I stream, but this year I didn't because I was like, if I'm bored, I'm not going to be very entertaining. So I'm just,
And it actually was kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, most of these things are. It's like everybody gets hyped for E3 and the Game Awards, and it's like when you're actually streaming the event, you're kind of like, this is really boring. Um, so I only wrote down the awards that I thought were important or the ones that mattered from the Video Game Awards. Um, the first one being Best Music. According to the fans of the Video Game Awards, uh, Death Stranding won. However, we have our own opinions on what should have won. I didn't have I didn't have a stake in this whatsoever. But Jeremy, you had a personal connection to this one.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk
Kingdom
about? Oh.
That was a joke. I thought that Kingdom Hearts should have won just because I think Kingdom Hearts music is very well done. Whereas Death Stranding, I just
You what?
don't get it. I don't get why it won.
Well,
I don't know. I just Kingdom Hearts is really dope and all. I just don't understand. I don't know how to explain it honestly, because I'm not upset about it anymore. I just genuinely don't care. Because in my heart, I know that I like Kingdom Hearts music's better, so that's all that matters.
you weren't upset at all. That night we were in a Discord call.
Yeah, I won't talk about it.
And we were.
I hadn't eaten all day. And I was hungry, and I just wanted to eat. And my mom was still making dinner, and I had been playing GTA all day. And I found out that my game didn't win, and me and my friends were busy in the call crapping on Death Stranding or party, and then I got mad. But moral of the story is, I know in my heart what won, even though it didn't win. I still love it, and all that matters is that I got what I wanted, which was Kingdom Hearts 3, regardless if the game is good or not. So yeah, that's all that matters.
We were in a Discord call, and Jeremy was like, "Oh my god, this is." Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
There we go. Now we can move on.
We were in a Discord call, and Jeremy's like, if Kingdom Hearts doesn't win Best Music, I'm going to leave the call, and I'm not going to talk to you for the rest of the day. I was like, okay, I can watch this in peace. Cool. And they said Death Stranding when he left the call. We didn't talk for the rest of the day. Great friendship, by the way. Moving on, this is another one of your category you were rooting for. Best Fighting Game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yes, sir. And it's still not classified as a fighting game in the community. Woohoo! In the fighting game community.
Okay. Best Narrative Game, Disco Elysium. I've never heard of this game.
Me neither.
I don't know what it's about. I don't care. Moving on. Pretty big announcement. We can talk about this a little bit. Xbox Series X was announced for holiday.
Why buy a PC when you can buy a console that does the same thing now?
And it looks like a giant cube.
Sorry, finish what you're saying about release dates and stuff. I realized I shouldn't have cut you off.
Holiday 2020. It looks like a giant cube.
Why have a PC that can play video games and you can do your homework on when you can just buy an Xbox, whatever X, for the same price and it won't do your homework. Just play video games.
I don't remember the name.
That's how I feel about it. Like, it's cool, but it's like, if we're gonna have that consoles just as good as PCs, why waste our money on consoles when you just play games on PC? That's my opinion.
I'm gonna love when kids want an Xbox and they go out and they're like, "Hey, I'm here for an Xbox," and the cashier's like,
Here's an X rectangle.
"Which one?"
Yeah.
I don't think it was Hellblade. Well, we
But
got
wait, it's not an Xbox anymore. It's a
Oh,
rectangle.
that's right.
So what are they gonna call it?
The rectangle. Jesus Christ! I hear PlayStation in the background.
Hold on, my bad. I was updating it. I'll turn it down all the way. My
We got
bad.
I don't remember. I don't know what game it was, but there wasn't a.
I just want to get that theme.
Was a game that was announced for the PS5, like the first official confirmation.
Oh,
don't
I know.
know.
There's that weird one, right?
I don't know what the name of the game was, but moving on. What was the
Sorry,
name of the game? Hold on.
I know what you're talking about. That game was wild.
First PS5 game announced. What was it? Godfall. Okay, I do actually have it on.
That
here.
game looks really cool. I'm gonna be honest. I was very hooked in.
But before that, we had Hellblade 2, which looked interesting. It looked really weird and demonic, and it's like, ooh, okay. That was announced. Best esports player was Booga. I don't care for esports. Sounds like booger to me, you know.
I'm not surprised just because he's the Fortnite player, and I feel like there's just a bias when it comes to that game.
I just thank God that it wasn't fucking Sonic Fox, fucking gay furry.
Oh
Again.
yeah, dude.
And then of course Godfall. Best audio was Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Yeah, what warrants a game winning best audio?
That's a good question. What's the difference between audio and music?
That's why I was genuinely confused.
Yeah, and if you were doing audio, wouldn't that entail like voice acting and everything? Like, you know, whatever. Best art direction was Control, which I haven't played Control. I've heard good things about it. Not my type of game, but you know, kudos to them. I think it's a PS5 exclusive. Came out this year, I think.
Huh.
Around October, I believe. Best action game, Devil May Cry 5.
Actually, that I never played that game, but I've heard so many good things about it.
It came out pretty early, didn't it? Because I think it was like February or March that came out. Games for Impact, Greece. Never heard of it. Best multiplayer game, Apex Legends. I hate Battle Royale games.
Yeah, me too, bro.
I personally voted for Rainbow Six Siege because I play Siege, so I was
What
like,
were the? I don't remember. Which one I voted for. Oh, I voted for Destiny 2.
Oh. Oh yeah, and the best ongoing game was Fortnite, which I also voted Siege.
I voted for Destiny 2.
But it's kind of funny because I want to talk about this a little bit. The dude, I don't know the dude's name, but like the guy who, like, I guess came up with Fortnite and like runs the operations like day to day, the CEO or whatever, he like would not shut the fuck up. Like he was just going on and on and on, and they had a whole thing with like, oh, come see a preview of Star Wars on Saturday, and I was like, stop. I was like, the adults who like Star Wars aren't gonna go and download Fortnite just because you told them to. Like, shut the fuck up. Anyways, this one I actually did vote for, and I completely agree. Best performance, Mads Mikkelsen for Death Stranding. Norman Reedus was also up for Death Stranding, but I preferred Mads because I actually played through the game and I thought he deserved that.
No comment on that one.
That award.
Not educated on that one.
Fresh indie game, Disco Elysium. Again, never heard of it. Don't know about it. Oh, announcement. This took everyone by surprise. This is one of the gem moments of the Game Awards. The Wolf Among Us 2.
Yeah, that was cool. I was very happy with that, actually.
The trailer was interesting. As soon as that kind of like art style popped up, everybody was like, oh.
So wait, I have a question.
Might have an answer. I may not. Let's try it.
Is that studio back? I'm blinking on the name of their studio right now.
It's
Is
Telltale
it back?
Games.
Thank you. Telltale Games back? What happened?
I don't know. They went out of business, and they had I don't remember the name of the company, but they had another company release the rest of season 3 for The Walking Dead. So I don't know how they're producing The Wolf Among Us 2. And the another question is, if they have The Wolf Among Us 2, if it's still Telltale, are they going to do it episodically, or are they going to release them all at once? And I wonder who. Somebody must have bought that property, I'm assuming is what happened, but we don't know. Interesting. Best game direction, Death Stranding 1. I had no problem with that. I don't remember the other nominees. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, also remember that all of these categories or awards were voted for by the fans. The production crew and like all of them, they have no way of knowing, because they kind of do it like the Golden Globes, where they have like the envelopes with the answers in them after the votes have been cast. So game of the year that won for video game was Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice,
So happy.
which a lot of people didn't think, including myself, didn't think, that was going to be it.
Very nice surprise in my opinion. I kind of like that the underdog won.
I didn't think it was going to win. I honestly thought Death Stranding was going to win. I don't think it should have won.
I didn't think Death Stranding was gonna win. Really? I think Sekiro deserves it.
Well,
We haven't had and I'm not surprised just because we haven't had a Souls game in such a long time. That was the closest thing we got to a Souls game.
And the thing is, now we're going to get another type of Souls game, which we'll talk about later. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice won their game of the year.
You talking about Ghosts of Tsushima yet?
That's what I meant by later.
Got it.
And so now on to our like regular stuff, I guess I should say. So that was the Video Game Awards. That was 2019.
Oh yeah, no Smash character. That was lovely.
Oh, yeah,
I wasted my entire night just not to get a reveal.
Reggie
I was super pissed. Oh. Reggie gave an amazing. You forgot about Indian Game because Reggie gave an amazing speech and had the Chad stride while Ninja had the Virgin walk.
Okay.
Have you not seen that meme?
No.
Okay, I'll send it to you later.
Please don't. I forgot. I forgot to talk about this. So at the end, so the whole show, the like beginning of the show started out strong, right? The middle was okay, but the ending was atrocious. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, at the end, I don't remember her name. They had some chick from the Fast and the Furious come out.
Yep,
and then so bad. They had Vin Diesel come out to present the game of the year. But they did like a whole ad for the Fast and the Fury. I don't even know the name of the game, but it's like a sequel to something they had already done. But the thing is, they were like, "Oh my god, this game looks so good." That's my Vin Diesel impression. It's not that great, but he was like, "It looks so good," and I'm just like, "These look like 2007 graphics. It does not look good at all. It was atrocious. That ending was terrible." So. Yeah, I did like I will talk about Tsushima later. We'll talk about that whole thing. Here's an interesting mid-break question. We're not even 15 minutes in. Wow. So I was talking to my friend Nick, who's been on the podcast before. He was on the previous episode. And we were talking, and I said there were no microtransactions in Star Wars Fallen Order. And he said, yes, there are. I said, what are you talking about? He said, pre-order bonuses. And I said, shit. Maybe you're right. So
no, that's a pre-order bonus.
I'm here. Hold on. I'm here. We're here to debate what this do pre-order bonuses count as microtransactions? That's the whole question, and we'll come back to that, I guess, when Jeremy gets back. So how are you guys doing? Please leave a link or not leave a link, don't leave a link in the comments. Subscribe possibly. How do you guys, what are your guys' game of the year? What's your pick for best game of the year. What are you
I'm
guys
back.
looking forward to? So we're here to debate: do pre-order bonuses count as microtransactions?
No,
You don't think they do?
no, that makes literally no sense.
I think
Nick, you're wrong if
I
you're
th- I
listening.
think
'Cause I know you listen to this, fool.
I think it depends
Uh,
on the game and how much. Like for Star Wars, you pre-order the game, you got two different lightsaber colors and sleeves and a skin, and I think that's fine. But it's like the Division 2, there's so many different pre-order things. It's like, oh, if you pre-order this, well, you get this, 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 and this. So I mean, it's however you want to look at it. Um, some rumors going around that Cyberpunk 2077 may be coming to Xbox Game Pass.
how do you feel about that?
Uh, I don't know. Here you could do one of two things. Like the Outer Worlds, I was happy that the first time it was like $5 and I could play a whole $60 game. But here's the thing, with Cyberpunk, I am more than happy to give my money to CD Projekt Red. So the fact that I already pre-ordered it and the money's already out of the bank, I'm fine with you know giving them money. Like I don't care, them or Sony. You know what I mean? You feel
Yes,
me?
yes, yes.
Um, and then yeah, I'll do something with that later. I don't remember. Did we talk about the Mandalorian last time?
What was there talk about the Mandalorian?
How Jango and Boba Fett weren't real Mandalorians.
No, we did
We
not.
we
I'm
didn't.
actually what is this? Speak.
Oh,
I'm confused. What?
so in the Mandalorian, they say, oh well, real Mandalorians don't like ever take off their helmets. Um,
Oh yeah.
well, not a, well. That kind of contradicts like Sabine Wren, who is in Rebels. That whole thing that contradicts the like Pre Vizsla and his whole clan during the Clone Wars and that whole like episodic arc. That kind of contradicts with all of that. But if you go back and watch the Clone Wars, there's an episode, I think it's in season 2, where they're doing the Mandalore arc, and there's a point where Kenobi arrives and he's talking with the governor. I forget his
Yeah.
name, but the governor's like, Django didn't earn his armor or whatever, so he wasn't like a real Mandalorian, suggesting that he stole it, which means if he's not, Boba isn't because his dad isn't. And if you look at
I see that.
the current show, The Mandalorian, they
Every time they try to take it off, he doesn't
yeah,
like
you
it.
don't see their helmets, which I thought was very interesting. Um,
Unless you know what the actor looks like, which I do.
well, yeah, he was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
What was I
That
gonna
role.
say? Speaking of the Mandalorian, no, we're not gonna do any spoilers. It's a very good show. The last episode comes
We
out.
should do. We should do. You know what we should do? We should save this for when the season's over, and then do a complete review. Of
Well,
the
yeah,
season.
that's what I'm planning on. The last episode,
Okay.
episode 8, I think comes out this Friday the 27th. Episode 7 came out early. I think we got it like Wednesday or Thursday last week, I believe.
Huh. Alright, I'm
Um,
gonna try this again. Get that.
The Witcher, which we were just talking about.
Yep.
If you have Netflix, The Witcher, the TV series, quote unquote, starring Henry Cavill, came out came out Friday. Yeah, last Friday. December 20th. It's very good. I'm only 2 episodes in, but from what I've liked or from what I've seen, I really enjoy it so far. However, there's been a bit of controversy about this. There was a review going around that a professional journalist, quote unquote, only saw the first episode and thought it was boring. and then she skipped ahead to episode 8 and said that she didn't understand the show and that the show was boring. And I'm like, you saw 2 out of 8 episodes of the show.
That's yikes.
How can you say that and call yourself a journalist? It's your job to watch these episodes. Also, clearly, she's someone who hasn't played the games or read the books. And that's another thing is
Wait,
a lot of...
Witcher's books?
Yeah, it's originally a book series.
Oh, that's crazy.
There was a little... I think we talked about it. There was a little bit of a scuffle between CD Projekt Red and the author, because the author wanted a lump sum of money instead of, they offered this other form of payment, which was you can either get this amount of money now and that's it, or we can pay you this amount and you can get like a percentage of our sales or whatever. And he chose to get like a lump sum of money, and then he didn't realize how popular the games were going to be, and he actually went to court and tried to sue them, and then they recently re-signed a contract or something where they're like good now. So it's very interesting to see where that might go. But the Netflix series isn't an adaptation of the video games, it's an adaptation of the books, which makes it more interesting because it's another interpretation of the author's work. And it's a very good show. The showrunner has said that they could easily do 20 seasons. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. If you do 8, if they're all 1 hour approximately each, you do 8 hours, 8 times 20, that's how many hours you'd have to watch. That's a bit ridiculous. I know you don't watch a whole lot of stuff outside of, outside of like your anime or whatever, but one of my favorite comedians, Mr. John Mulaney, that I actually got to go see him live, he's coming out with an interesting comedy short special, I guess you could say, on Netflix. It's called John Mulaney and the Sack Lunch Bunch, and the tagline is, "It's a musical from a man who can't sing about children with a man who has no kids." It's very interesting. I'm excited to see it. It's like a musical series, and each episode has like a different guest actor, so it's gonna be interesting to see. That comes out tomorrow actually, and I'm very excited to see it. I can't talk about that. Something else in the movie news that literally just came up yesterday. Do you know the name Pendleton Ward?
No.
No, he is the creator and showrunner of Adventure Time. And
Okay.
he and I don't know the other guy's name, they are doing a Netflix adult-themed animated series called The Midnight Gospel. So to me, I'm just like, oh great, here comes another Disenchantment or whatever. The what's it called?
Disenchanted was a good little show.
Are you talking about the
cartoon? Is that what we're talking about?
cartoon on Netflix that the same guy did Futurama and The Simpsons?
Yeah. I thought you were talking about that.
Yeah. I'm on season 2. I haven't seen it all, but from what I've seen,
I haven't finished that one. Don't say anything. Or I haven't started it.
No, I'm saying I'm on season 2. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be the same type of thing. If you didn't know, Tom Kenny, who does SpongeBob, voiced as Ice King on Adventure Time.
What?
Yeah, if you listen, you're like, oh wow, that is SpongeBob. And I think we talked about, I think 2K bought Cloud Chamber and they're developing a new BioShock game.
Oh god.
Which I'm interested to see how that goes. And IGN's, this was a bit controversial as well. IGN's own, they do like their own award thing. And apparently for Game of the Year, a lot of people wanted Death Stranding to win. And IGN was like, we're not having Death Stranding, and they just deleted the poll. Deleted Death Stranding as a category, even though people had already voted for it. And they named Control. Yes, just a little bit. So that's it for the categories. Now we move on to something you didn't know about, which is gonna be good. Our top picks for the year.
Oh,
And these are different categories. Show of the year, like a show that you've either rewatched or has come out. Obviously, there's one that immediately comes to mind, which would be The Mandalorian.
that's the only show I've watched this year, so it's the only show I can give. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. That's literally the only thing I can tell you.
For me, there was like The Blacklist, which is really good, which is on NBC. But there's not.
The Office. The Office was a great show that came out this year.
But
Loved it. 10 out of 10. Watched all 10 seasons. Recommend it to any human being who has a good taste in TV.
That's true. But there isn't really any like cable. There aren't that many cable TV shows. What I'm trying to say that are like still on, that I'm into, except for like Blacklist, Blue Bloods. Netflix shows I go with The Witcher, obviously, but I haven't seen it all yet. Then next up is the worst gaming mistake. Ghost Recon Breakpoint with Ubisoft.
Fallout 76.
Bethesda's handling of the Fallout franchise. I only put Breakpoint on there because Ubisoft was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a great game," and then people were like, "Nah, son, it ain't." So I think Bethesda's handling of the whole franchise thing.
I heard something happened to it recently.
Yes. So somebody, well, there's multiple hacks, and I was watching a podcast earlier, and there was somebody, he was saying, I want a whole documentary on how this happened, on who, there were executives at some point that sat down in a conference room and said, how can we salvage this from being a bad game? I got an idea. Let's create a premium subscription service for $100 a year. So I would actually like to see a whole documentary series on that. But recently they hacked into 76 and they started spawning Fallout 4 assets, like NPCs and things. And I think it was as of today or yesterday, there were some more hacks where people could steal from other people's inventory, and
that's so funny.
These are things from like the Atomic Shop, so people spend like real world money on these items just to get it stolen. So Bethesda, if you're listening, please stop 76. How long is it gonna take for them to be like, you know what, we made a mistake?
This game isn't good.
If
let's
Todd
work on Skyrim.
If Todd Howard doesn't come out E3 next year and say, guys, we messed up, I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna lose it. I don't know who on earth is still playing 76 at this point. I really don't. Like, and I mean 70s playing it as in like intentionally, like how the game is made. I don't know who is just sitting there going through the world how it was meant to be at this point. I think a lot of people are now getting on there just to be hackers, which is just making the game and the situation that much worse. How much is Bethesda going to take to be like, okay, we need to like shut the game down? You know?
I think they should just make it free to play and then allow mods and just say let it loose. Just let it be a jungle.
You know what's funny? PlayStation, so I follow a lot of accounts on Twitter, right? And PlayStation tweeted out that you could download Fallout 76 for free for, I don't think it was this weekend, I think it was last weekend. And there were so many comments that were like, hey, even if it's free, I still don't want to play it. And I was like, I'm kind of in that same category. You know, you feel me?
Part of me would want to try it out, part of me wouldn't try it out.
And it's funny because I kick myself. I'm glad I never bought it. But here's the thing with E3. The problem with E3 is it gives people hope, and it's all false hope, because you can go back on my channel, and on when they announced Fallout 76, I was actually in a call with Caleb, and I was like, "Yo, this like a good idea. Like, I would be down to do this. But I didn't pre-order it because I was skeptical, and I'm glad I didn't waste $60. Go ahead.
The reason I didn't pre-order it was because of how early because of the reason they launched pre-orders
Mm-hmm.
without knowing what the game was. Like you literally could buy a game you knew nothing.
Yeah.
That is why I didn't. That is why I didn't pre-order it, because at that moment I'm like, oh, that's sketch.
And they were like, "Oh, this is no NPCs." I'm like, "How are you gonna do an online game with no
NPCs?
Like, are you crazy?"
There aren't they adding NPCs in the new update?
I have no idea at this point. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't care. I don't follow it. There's one channel that I know that so it. I don't know how to explain it. There are like certain types of YouTube channels, right? Like you go to my channel, and now it's a podcast channel, but it used to be like all gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow a bunch of people, and they're like news channels where they will update on anything, but they're not like drama news. They're YouTube gaming news. If that makes sense. So he's been following Fallout 76's blunders for like ever, and I remember, I think this was a few weeks ago. It was literally like every day there was a new video with Fallout 76 attached to it because of what Bethesda was doing. I was like, Jesus Christ. Bethesda, why? And this is giving me worries, okay? Bethesda and how they're handling Fallout is giving me worries for not only Skyrim, or not Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, was it 8, 7, whatever number, I think it's 7, and the space outfield, something field, space field, not space field. The name escapes me, but it's getting me worried for those games, because even though they're single player games, if they're anywhere near like the same engine as 76, which Todd Howard has been quoted as saying they're both running on that same engine, I think we're gonna have a problem.
I think Bethesda's gonna fall apart.
Because, I mean, there are like the fanboys out there who will buy it. I'm gonna be cautious, because I've never pre-ordered a Bethesda game. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think you have this same kind of philosophy. There are only a very few companies that I will trust with pre-ordering games from that I know is okay. One of them being CD Projekt Red, and the other one being like any of the Sony studios like Naughty Dog or Santa Monica, Sucker Punch. Any of those studios, I will pre-order a game. But Bethesda and Ubisoft, Ubisoft I have, but I don't anymore. Bethesda, I've never pre-ordered a game from them.
Same.
And I think it's gonna be rough when the space one comes out. So, with that being said, most anticipated for 2020 games: Ghost of Tsushima,
That's mine.
Last of Us Part 2, and Cyberpunk 2077. Now here's the thing. All three of these games are going to be good. I'm going to play all three of these games. Are you going to get Cyberpunk and Last of Us 2?
My New Year's resolution is to stop buying so many video games, so I have to get back to you on that.
Okay, so you don't know.
Because I spend too much money on video games that like literally once New Year's hits, I'm giving myself a set limit of how many games a year I can buy, and they're probably going to be main title games. Like I'm giving myself, okay, I can buy this is just an example, like 3 main title games a year, or 2 indie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how it's going to be. So I don't know, but Cyberpunk is looking like a most likely, just because I feel like if I didn't play that game, I'd be a really uncultured gamer. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, yeah.
Like I was able to miss out on like Spider-Man, I was like, that's fine. But like, no, I don't think I can miss out on Cyberpunk, because this game is being hyped up as like the next God of War for that year. You
Oh,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah. And here's the thing, all
And I
three
wish
of
I could
these-
say that about Red Dead, but I still don't understand how that didn't happen. What?
because it was fan choice.
Oh wait, was that the year with God of War?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. I know why. Sorry, I blanked for a minute.
No,
yeah,
you're
I,
good.
I, I feel like it's gonna be like the new God, like how God of War was. I feel like it's gonna be like that. Either that game is, or Ghost. How do you say it?
Tsushima.
Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima. That's my most anticipated game, though. That game looks. You know how I am about graphics.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Literally beautiful.
And here's the thing. It's like all three of them. It's gonna be. I don't even know. We don't even know. And that's the thing is that all three of these games, I'm curious to see what wins the video game awards. But I know that like all these different companies have their own like things. So it's like there are some companies that do like, oh, Editor's Choice Awards, where it's like, oh, here's an Editor's Choice, here's our Game of the Year, here's yada yada yada. Then you have like IGN, you have Game Informer, you have Video Game Awards. So it just depends, and there's no doubt in my mind that all three of these will be Game of the Year in some company or another. Mine, it's funny because The Last of Us Part 2 for me is my least anticipated. And that's not to say that it's not going to be good. It's just the fact that it was pushed back from February to May.
Which game? I'm sorry.
Last of Us Part 2.
Got it.
It was pushed back from February to May, literally the day after they announced it at the State of Play. That was the second to last one, I believe. So for me, it would be Last of Us Part 2, and then Ghost of Tsushima, and then Cyberpunk. And I think that's because out of all three of these games, we've seen Cyberpunk the most, Ghost of Tsushima second, and we've barely seen The Last of Us. We've gotten one gameplay demo from The Last of Us. And we did from Ghost of Tsushima, but we've seen, I think, a little bit more. And Cyberpunk, we've gotten 2 different, like, game tech demos. And another thing is, Cyberpunk is going to be able to reach more people because it's or you have to take into account with at least the Video Game Awards that these are all fan-based votes, and a lot more people will have access to Cyberpunk because they'll have an Xbox or a PS4 compared to Ghost of Tsushima or The Last of Us because it only, some people don't have a PS4.
God of War one on PS4.
That is true, but I'm saying it does
and
have...
Red Dead was both Xbox.
I'm just saying it does have an impact.
You're right.
But what I'm
What
saying,
was I gonna say?
all three of these games are going to be good. Last of Us Part 2, a lot of people are saying with The Last of Us Part 1, it's a great game, but it's a good narrative with not that great gameplay. So, when
Which
I'm...
game? Sorry?
Last of Us, the first one.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
I'm tired. I keep zoning out. There you go.
So it's like the first one, if it had great story but subpar gameplay, imagine... It's weird looking at Naughty Dog because they had Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, and then they took away from 3 and they made The Last of Us. And they went from Last of Us and they said, okay, what are we doing from The Last of Us? What can we bring from here to go to 4? Uncharted 4. And then they're going to take whatever they did from Uncharted 4 and they're going to bring it over to The Last of Us Part 2. So I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. As far as combat and graphics and all of that, Ghost of Tsushima I'm excited for.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cyberpunk, it's weird. It's like you're getting all three genres in the same year. Because Cyberpunk, you have like that sci-fi gun draw, kind of like Division, where it's not a looter shooter, but it kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
Last of Us, you get that post-apocalyptic survival, nitty gritty kind of game, and then Ghost of Tsushima, you get that medieval feel, samurai sword. So it's gonna be good. Next one, consoles, PS5.
Wait, I'll just say one thing really quick. We'll come on the Game Awards. As much as I want to be like the Game Awards decides the video games.
It doesn't.
If you're voting Apex for game of the multiplayer game of the year, then I don't trust any of the opinions. That's just me.
Well,
But
keep in mind,
going.
2 or 3 years ago, I don't remember which one it was. We were talking about this last night. 2 or 3 years ago, Video Game Awards, Overwatch won Game of the Year.
This is why. Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. Sorry.
consoles.
Keep going. Let's not promote that game. Keep going.
What game? Consoles. PS5, Xbox X.
PS5, easy dubs.
Now, I will also say PS5 because that's probably the one I'm gonna buy. But we both said in the last podcast we're not gonna pre-order it or buy it. We're gonna wait to see what comes out first. Correct?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I am probably gonna buy it when they bundle it with Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima, and they do a bundle for the cool looking PS4, PS5.
I don't know. We'll see.
Really, you're annoying.
So let's see. Most anticipated for 2020. Ghost of Tsushima. It'll be interesting to see. I have a theory, as always, like I always do, that the Sony. I don't know what they're cooking up launch wise for the PS5.
Sorry, people keep walking in my freaking room.
No, you're good.
All right.
Um,
What I was saying before I got cut off was I kind of want to get a bundled PS4, PS5.
Right,
I'm gonna keep
right.
saying that.
And I'm thinking, because I don't think realistically it's making Kingdom Hearts game for a very long time. But I was thinking I really am hyped for Ghost of Tsushima. I think I might just get a bundle that includes that game and then it comes with a cool controller and PS4. PS5. Oh my god, PS5.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think that'd be a good idea.
It'll be interesting. Here's the problem. We don't know what the launch titles are for the PS5. But
Okay.
I can guarantee 100%, okay? 100% guarantee that we will see a quote unquote remastered version of Spider-Man, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, and Cyberpunk all on the PS5. What Sony has said about these games.
Wait, I'm so dumb. The PS5 comes out this holiday. Ghost of Tsushima comes out next year. My bad. Then
Yeah.
there won't be a bundle for a PS5. I'm so stupid. The only way I'll get a PS5
It might be.
is if it
there
comes
might be a bundle.
with a okay. The only way I will get a PS5 is for an exclusive PS5 that comes in a bundle with a cool game. That's the only way I'll get it.
Well, what I was saying is what
I'm sorry to cut you off. I
You're
just had to make
good.
that clear.
Sony has come out and they've said that I think we talked about this in the last podcast. Sony's come out and they have said that PS5 titles will not be backwards compatible, meaning anything that was exclusively released on the PS5 will not be on the PS4.
I'm so not surprised.
However, we know it's going to be backwards compatible. So you're going to be able to play all of the like disc or digital versions of your games as long as you use the same account. You can play all of those games on the PS5. So if you have or if you buy Ghost of Tsushima: The Last of Us, Cyberpunk, like I'm going to have on the PS4, you can transfer all of that over to the PS5. You won't have to buy a bundle for it. But what I'm saying is I can guarantee 100% that there will be remastered versions of those, not only those but Spider-Man and God of War on the PS5, guaranteed. Because they're gonna do something like they did last time when they moved from the PS3 to the PS4. They released The Last of Us remastered for those who didn't get it on the PS3. That's why I bought a PS4 to begin with, was The Last of Us remastered. So they're gonna remaster all of these games to be like, oh, if you didn't get a chance to play God of War on the PS4, boom, here it is in a bundle on the PS5. I can guarantee that's what they're gonna do. I just hope that that's not their launch plans, because for people who already have those games, they're gonna have no incentive to get the new console.
That's true.
So we will see. Most anticipated TV shows for 2020. I could only come up with two, and that's the Obi-Wan Disney Plus series
That's my only one.
and Star Wars Clone Wars Season 7.
I lied. That's my other one.
Potential Witcher. I don't think another Witcher season will come out that fast. Actually, they already started production on the second season, so possibly.
For Mando?
No, well, I think for Mandalorian and The Witcher, but that's two different things. And then finally, both of our Game of the Year goes to Star Wars Fallen Order.
Such a great game.
The other mention that I have for Game of the Year for me was The Outer Worlds, because that was a really good game, even though I didn't.
Oh, I
the only-
need to talk to you about that game actually after this.
The only reason it didn't win for me was because I didn't get a chance to finish it, because I would have had to pay like another month of Game Pass, and at that time I was super into Death Stranding, so I was like, I'm gonna have no time to play the end of that. So when it comes to Steam later this year and I can mod it, I will buy it and play it. And I did basically that the Game Pass was a test run because I did it on my PC, and I know my PC can handle it. It's just a little stuttery sometimes. So I know my PC can handle it, so I'm definitely buying it on Steam when it comes out later this year.
Also,
Game of the Year, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna, yeah, really quick. No, yeah, that game was amazing. I just, gosh, I'm still playing through it. I literally, it's the first game since Red Dead Redemption 2 where I'm taking the time to go out of my way to find the collectibles and to read the lore scripts and to do all this stuff because of how detailed the game is. Great job, Respawn. No, not disappointed like always when it comes from Respawn, and I'm very happy with it.
I was gonna say, as of today, we are both actually going back through and getting like all the chests and scanning the environment, and
So much fun and it's
and all of
so
that.
great.
There was a little bit of
Raging heavy combat.
yeah, there was
Oh,
a little bit of news on Star Wars Fallen Order. Somebody had made some sort of post. I think it was Respawn made some sort of posting for some sort of like technical director for some sort of sequel. And I would really enjoy a sequel to this game.
I would love more single player Star Wars games.
KOTOR 3.
Continue, what? I didn't know how else to mimic you, so I just went straight with it.
KOTOR 3. Good game. Good game.
Before we go, do you want to share our video games of the decade since we're not going to be back on the podcast?
Yeah, we should do that. We should do that, shouldn't we?
Okay, and what time are we at? What time stamp? Or where are we at?
We're at 47.
Yeah, then we can
We could do
for,
this and make it an hour.
yeah.
Uh,
You or me first?
Before we get into that, I wanted to add a category that I just thought of, on top of, well, not Game of the Year, but was replay of the year. What
Okay.
games have we replayed that we really enjoyed? I replayed through Black Flag and Origins, and I actually beat Black Flag. I 100% completed it through, I think it was the Steam achievements on PC, and I really enjoyed it.
Pog.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh, I said Pog. I said good job.
Oh. Well, what
That's
were
all.
Oh,
Oh, my game?
yeah.
Oh, the only game I replayed through this year was Star Wars Republic Commandos. Great game from 2008 or 5 or 3, whatever year that was. Definitely replayable. No, I'm joking. Okay, I actually did play through that though. I didn't finish my playthrough, but definitely Red Dead Redemption 2. Second time through, it's beautiful. Taking a lot more pictures, enjoying it. Just kind of got distracted by other games. And I played Assassin's Creed 2. Terrible,
That's right.
terrible. I'm not going to go into how cluster bone
Oh,
that
yeah, that's
was.
right. We
And
both played through
then-
4. We both played through 2. I'm currently on
4,
3.
oh, yes. Replaying through 4, very, I'm trying to install while I load up Steam to remember what else I put there. Very enjoyable playthrough. I really liked that. I played through some of Borderlands 2. Great. I personally love Borderlands 2.
I played through the Borderlands series except for 3 this year also for the first time.
I have 3. I haven't been that impressed so far. Castle Crashers. But anybody can play through that easily. I played through Minecraft. No, I'm joking. And then, I've been doing a playthrough. This is so stupid. I'm just naming random games. I've been playing through Fallout 4 again. So enjoyable. So much fun now I know what I'm doing. great.
I mean,
I'm
it's a good
loving
game,
it.
but the story is kind of, you know.
You're right, but if you just exclude the crappy story,
Oh, no, yeah,
great
yeah.
game, great game. Oh, and I've been playing through Halo Reach again because
Oh, that's right, yeah. 'cause
we need to
talked
talk
that.
about that.
We already
There's nothing
did.
really to talk about. Oh, right,
We did that last podcast.
my bad.
All right, games
No.
of the decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Anyways, you go first. You go first.
Oh, you want me to go first again? Oh, okay. Alright.
Oh no, fine. Okay, I'll
I'll
go
go.
first. Oh, okay.
Me or you?
Let's go with me first because I'm
Go ahead.
quicker and you ended off better than I do.
Okay.
All right, cool. So my top video games of the decade. I picked these games based off of. Man, this is good. Making this list made me so depressed. You realize how my childhood's over. Going through this list, I picked games that were the most memorable for me, or like I had the most memories with, or games that had some impact on my life in one way, shape, or another. And also, obviously, if they were a good game or not, because I'm not gonna put like Fallout 76. So my 10th slot, which a lot of people on Instagram were crapping on me for because they thought it should have been higher, was Minecraft. I wanted to include it in this list because I've spent way too much time on this game. But however, I don't. It's a fun game, but it's like I think there are a lot better narrative games.
Don't eat the peanut butter chocolate. Please.
Thank you.
It's great living in a house where people just interrupt you constantly. It's the best. How are you guys day going? Mine's going pretty good. Be sure to leave a like. Make sure to comment your game of the year. What were your favorite moments of this year? As you were saying.
I'm bad.
As you were saying.
Sorry, Mom. Thought it'd be funny to keep walking in after I told her to leave. Okay. So Minecraft was a great game. It's just I thought there were better narrative games that took the spot over Minecraft, and I get that. And also, Minecraft was the most sold game of all time, the most played game or something like that. I think it was awesome, but I don't know. I feel like there's just games that, in my opinion, they're more of a spot on here. Number 9. Jonah can mute me for this one because he's not gonna like this. I put Assassin's Creed 3. For me, I spent a lot of time playing through this game. A lot of time. I almost 100. I like 90% of this game. It's the only Assassin's Creed game where I've stupidly free roam for no reason, just because I enjoyed the environment and the area I was in so much. I will admit, Origins did have a great environment and a great explorable area. It's just the game is kind of wonky. But I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed running around as Connor. I really enjoyed Connor. I really enjoyed his outfit. I enjoyed the tomahawk. I just overall enjoyed the era that it was in. I would say the most. I also enjoyed finding those epic scenes where you're running through, just crazy fights and battles in historical moments. Even though Assassin's Creed lore would say that this shouldn't have happened. 8 is Red Dead Redemption. Obviously, great game, great free roam. It's the game that got me really, really into free roam games. It's a game that I literally bought. What was it? When the PS4 and Xbox One first came out, I didn't get one for the first year and a half or a year it was out. And that winter, when everybody was getting their PS4s, I have bought Red Dead Redemption on sale, played through the entire thing, continued to just stupidly explore because I was so dumbfounded and amazed by literally everything you do in that game and like how beautiful it was. Like I just ride around, and that was got me into open. I just ride around the world and just be happy with what I saw and enjoy it, even with the crappy graphics. And yeah, that game, that was a fun game. That was the game that I got very lost, like in a good way. Like it sucked me. It was a fun game. Number 7 is Fallout 4. Fallout 4. When I bought this game, I did not expect me to love it as much as I did. I've done multiple attempts at playthroughs with builds, but I failed all of them. I beat the game. I loved it. I played the living crap out of the Nuka World DLC. I'm replaying through the game right now on my PC. It's what got me into 50s music. I love the vibe. I love the Pit Boy. I love all of that stuff, and I especially love the animations. Pit
because it's really funny. I love the little cartoon stuff. Yeah, but overall, that's why I put it 7 because that game, even though the story was bad, which I will admit, it was a very fun game. Spent a lot just exploring that world, having a lot of fun. That's another free world game that I got very lost in, just running around, the wasteland. It was a fun game. Number 6, Halo Reach. This game was so much fun. The amount of time I spent on this game, the amount of adults I pissed off at my age of 10, 11 years old was ridiculous. I still have memories of myself running around a Magnum just crapping on people. I would sit in Forge doing jump rope and dodging incoming, the one with the Warthog where you drive and you just keep spinning stupidly fast. Not only was Halo Reach a great first-person shooter, but you could introduce Forge, which was literally the greatest idea. Oh no, it did not introduce Forge. Why? I sound like a fake fan. It revolutionized Forge for Halo. Because Halo 3, you had your Forge and you could do some fun stuff. But Halo Reach, you could go above and beyond. You got all these mini game modes, build your fortress and have your friends try to take you out. You had my personal favorite, which was the courses you would do in Warthogs and Mongooses constantly fall off. You had all these different things, and you would spend hours in it. Not only that, I believe it introduced Firefight, which is actually pretty fun when you made yourself literally invincible, jump super high, unlimited ammo on rocket launchers, and just literally destroy everything in your path. It had one of my favorite leveling and unlock systems, which was grindy but very fun and worthwhile when you got what you wanted, which was with the money and the leveling up, and you just earn credits to get what you wanted. My character looked super cool, and the campaign was amazing. I like campaigns, unfortunately, that don't have happy endings because I find them to be more realistic than ones that do. And that was a depressing campaign, but it was also a realistic campaign, and I very much enjoyed it playing through that. And I played through it. I played through that campaign 2 or 3 times because I thought it was actually amazing. I'm mad. I remembered a game that I actually should have put on this list, but I didn't. I'm so upset. And it's literally one of my childhood games. It's fine. It's fine. I guess it's a DS game, but it's whatever. Borderlands 2 was my number 5. Borderlands 2 was what got me into the shooter concept. Me and my brother would literally play that game for hours on end together, and that's all we would do. And I'm pretty sure I replayed that game once or twice with a different character. And Borderlands was a game that I spent a stupid amount of time on. That's one game where I can't play through Borderlands 2 because I played it so much and I literally know everything that it makes me sick trying to play it again. That's how much I played through it. When I loved Borderlands, I mean Borderlands. So yeah, number 4 is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Now, if you don't know about this game, you're living under a rock, and you can have a shitty opinion like Nintendo hater over here. But this was a phenomenal game. The art style is beautiful. The music is amazing. The characters are phenomenal. Everything about this game was great. I mean, I literally call it like a little kid to Dark Souls because it was this fun little game where they literally just threw you out in the world and nothing, and you had to explore, talk to people. You had to go out of your way. You can literally beat the game and you can go straight to the boss if you felt like it. It gave you complete freedom to do whatever you want, and I think that's what made me enjoy it the most is because you had your small tutorial, and then after that it was like do what you want, we don't care. And
It'd be nice if the weapons didn't break every 2 hits.
I'm gonna get on that too. Oh yeah, I love that it gave you complete freedom because it made me feel like I could enjoy the game more personally. Weapons breaking. I enjoyed that weapons break because if that game didn't have weapons break, I feel like it would be way too dang easy, and that would be a big complaint that would have made it as good. If you managed your weapons correctly, weapons breaking wasn't an issue because smaller enemies you use smaller weapons, bigger enemies you use bigger weapons, and you wouldn't be wasting the weapons you had. If I managed my weapon inventory very well, and I never had an issue with my weapons breaking, and even if I did, that added an element that not many games have, which is weapons breaking. Not only that, but you do crafty stuff like slide on your shield, blow up your bombs, send yourself flying across the map. You could do crazy stunts and crazy things. Like you get very creative with that game, and they added some cool little platformer elements like the met, like different power ups. Great game. 3 is the God of War on the PS4. I mean, this one's pretty self-explanatory. Beautiful world. I loved the music. I loved the lore. I loved Kratos. I loved the sun. I loved the ending. I don't think I could genuinely find a thing I hated about that game. That was one of the coolest games I played. And as I'm like, there's 2 games above this. Those are just because they have more meaning. Oh, that's speaking of another game I played this year was Mario Odyssey. Forgot to mention that. But God of War, I can only hype it up. There's no complaint. Like that is the only game I played where I can genuinely say it's borderline perfect. And that's why I wasn't upset that it beat Red Dead Redemption 2 in Game of the Year, because I genuinely cannot find a reason to crap on it. Like I playing through that game was so satisfying. Oh yeah, my only complaint is that I can't beat the Valkyries. But yeah, the fact that you can switch between both weapons was amazing. I personally like the axe more, just because I had fun throwing it around like a hooligan. But like that game was amazing. I felt like there was nothing was lackluster, nothing was forced out. Everything that was taken time with was crafted. That game could have been my game, very close to coming in for my game of the decade. Because I keep saying, there's nothing wrong with that game, and I will never find anything wrong with that. So number 2 is Mario Odyssey. I enjoyed this game because I played the Mario 64, and I thought this game was perfectly timed. Like you can play through it, beat the campaign in a day, but it was a good campaign. It's easily replayable because it's so much fun. And you can go through the world and go on moons. Not only that, you have different parkour elements you can put into the game to make it way more fun for you. You can go back to the worlds. You can unlock another world. Nintendo hides little levels and insanely difficult. And I love the music. I mean, it has my favorite, probably one of my favorite music songs of all time, which is "Jump Up Superstar." I love that song so much, and I honestly can't. Like this game, it's an amazing game. I replayed through it this year, and I enjoyed it so much. Just playing, and not only that, Cappy was so much fun. Like that was such a unique game design by Nintendo, and I feel like this is another game where there weren't a lot of issues. It was almost, I was no, God of War was almost perfect. I'd say this game was a very good game. I feel like Nintendo. Oh, okay, and I remember what I was gonna say. I feel like coming from an iconic game like Mario 64, which was so beloved, they did this. Like, in any way, it was literally a perfect successor to Mario 64, even with all the pressure they had. So therefore, I think that Nintendo literally got a part of that game. The only reason it beat God of War is because it has Jump Up Superstar in it. Literally the only reason. Now my number 1, Jonah probably could have guessed what this was before even knowing that I had my list done, which was Red Dead Redemption 2. Now let me. This one's gonna be the one I talk about the longest, next to God of War. One of the most stunning and breathtaking worlds I've ever been a part of. It's the only game where I literally, I pause, I get off my horse in the middle of a mission, even if I fail it, and just take a picture of the landscape. The only game where I've died multiple times because I've been too busy looking at the beautiful land around me rather than at my horse, and I hit a tree and I go flying off a cliff, or I get shot by a gang member, or I just do something stupid, or I lose the mission because I'm not. That game is beautiful in ways that I don't think any other games ever replicate. Not only that, but the story is one of the best stories I've ever followed in a game. I mean, you start as Arthur, who's this character, and you just watch this character build throughout the entire game, and it's one of the most heart-wrenching and enjoyable storylines to watch, and you learn so much through Arthur as a character that I think a lot of it can be brought back to real life and be taken as a reflection in a way. Not only that, but everything in that game is detailed. Literally everything, as the meme was, the ball string, bro. I mean, it was literally to that finite point. Like, literally hunting, you have to shoot the animal here to get 3-star pelt.
and you can do stupid things like you can even talk to all the NPCs and interact with every NPC in the game. You can go play the most minuscule games. You can do the crazy Easter eggs. You can literally like the Easter egg where the little robot, literally things like that just make this game so breathtaking. This game has so much character because there's so many animals. The map is huge. You can spend like 3 days in New Austin screwing around, move to the middle, spend another 3 days there. You, every biome and everything, like this game literally to me was the perfect definition of a video game that's meant. If you ever were to ask me what I would ever like my perfect video game, that would be Red Dead Redemption 2. Not only this, but like I said before, I think so much better of a character than John Marston, just because of how he struggles throughout the whole story. And once you hit the middle of the story, when he gets tuberculosis, everything changes and you just see everything in a different outlook. Not only that, it feels like a Wild West game. I mean, literally, you hit a rock, you fall over. You can literally fish for hours. You can do stupid, meaningless side missions. I mean, there's a side mission where you help a man whose horse runs away and he has a prosthetic leg. If you come back as John, we'll literally talk about his time with Arthur Morgan, and John will tell him about Arthur. The characters don't. It's realistic in the sense the characters die when they're meant to die. There's no happy endings. It's the Wild West. People get shot. People die. There's no happy ending in the Wild West. And this game perfectly portrays that. It's all about survival. Trusting no one. It's about trying just to get by. And this game perfectly represents that. It perfectly represents this as a game. And I could keep talking about this game for hours, but I'm gonna shut up now. But that was last thing. The music in this game. Holy crap, if you could literally par this music in this game I literally own the original vinyl already.
Because of me.
Jonah, thank you. Let me think. Next, thanks to my boy Jonah over here. I paid a lot of money for it, but that's how much it means. The music is beautiful and it's out of this world, and it enhances your experience so much. Even in the ends, when you're with Arthur, listening to Cool World flashbacks, and you already know what you're walking into, and as you're like trying not to because you're like, Arthur, why he doesn't deserve. And you're just asking yourself, like, the music's amazing. Rockstar literally is. I just don't know what can beat this. I don't know how Rockstar making the next game is going to try something crazy. This game literally is a work of art. And I know as much as I'm God of War still won, I was shocked but wasn't surprised just because God of War was a great game too. But to me, that was my game of the year, and I think that deserves everything. Just because Rockstar literally outdid themselves. I thought this game was literally something special, and it was something that it literally, like, yeah. My definition of a perfect video game is Red Dead Redemption 2, even if it has some bugs or anything. That's my definition of a perfect game. That's my 12 out of 10. And one honorable mention was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and I'm gonna put as well on there as Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 because I believe that came out during this decade, and that Kingdom Hearts game has impacted my life so heavily that I love that game. The music, I mean, I still fall asleep to the music from that game. I still listen to music from that game. Sad story, but a great story. It teaches you to hold on to the things that matter to you when you, because you won't always have them on all from a wacky. And that game will always have a special place. But yeah, so those are my games of the decade. I'm done. It's just the main one was Red Dead Redemption 2. I can talk about the game all day. Jonah, take it away.
I think that's probably the most amount of time that you've like talked straight, like all 9 episodes that we've done.
Because when you're talking about a video game I'm passionate about, I get really I emotionally invest in.
Oh, no, you're good.
Red Dead Redemption. I'm emotionally invested.
much of my time with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
On me, I'm going to be a lot quicker because I'm not going to go into detail about every single one of them. I'm going to go into detail about a few of them. Not that the other games don't matter, it's just that when I was looking these up, I literally just typed in 2010, or not
That's what I
2010,
did too.
2011
That's what I did too.
games and wrote down all the ones that I had played, and then I eliminated them, and I was like, okay, what are my top 10 here? So number 10, obviously, Fallout New Vegas. It was one of the first of its kind, and it was a complete turnaround from Fallout 1 and 2. And it was such a good game before Bethesda messed it all up. Number 9 was Batman Arkham City, the sequel to Arkham Asylum. I really enjoyed this one because it was an actual open world as Batman, which I feel like a lot of people wish they could have done with the first one. So I really enjoyed that one. And the funny thing is, all of these except for, well, these 5 I didn't pre-order, but the other 5 I did. I always got them based off of recommendations and other YouTube videos. Coming in number 8 is Mass Effect 2, the best Mass Effect of the trilogy, in my opinion. Notice how I said trilogy because I don't count Andromeda.
What's Andromeda?
Exactly. Mass Effect 2 is just so good. It introduces a whole new cast of characters as your squad that you can have, and it's just a really good game. They really know how to not make an open world game, but make it to where it's in sections, and I really enjoy that. And that'll come into effect a little bit later. Number 7, Skyrim, just because, it's Skyrim. At that time, I had a medieval itch. I think Game of Thrones had started coming out at that point, and I wasn't into Game of Thrones, but I had seen advertisements. I'm like, oh, I want to play a game that's like that, and so I started, playing through Skyrim 3 or 4 times, back when you could play through it and it wouldn't get bugged. Number 6 is BioShock. Very good game. Don't really count BioShock 2. BioShock Infinite obviously was really good. But the original one, I really love, near and dear to my heart. I still need to go back through and play it with the BioShock collection. I'm pretty sure it's on sale in the PlayStation Store. Not sponsored.
Sorry.
Coming in at number 5, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. One of the best games post Ezio Trilogy. If not the best game post Ezio Trilogy. Funny enough, the same people who made Black Flag are the same people who did AC Origins. But yeah, Black Flag really good. A lot of people say, oh, it's not an Assassin's Creed game. Well, if it's not an Assassin's Creed game, it's a damn sure fine pirate game, if I do say so.
That's factual.
Number 4, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I say this because, again, it's another medieval game. That's kind of what I was thinking. But I was hesitant. The reason I didn't pre-order it is because I didn't know how I would feel about the combat. Because I was like, it looks fun, but I was like, I don't know if I'd like that or not. Turns out, really enjoyed it. Played through it 4 or 5 times. It's kind of funny because they really make you go through the work. There was One Sword Longclaw, because it was from Game of Thrones, that I always wanted to get. But you have to go through so much shit to get it. It's like you gotta go to this place, you gotta get this specific thing to make this thing, to make that thing, to make the whole thing, and then you gotta level up to be able to wield that sword. Ah, good memories. Coming in at number 3, Assassin's Creed Origins. Obviously, Egypt. I personally liked the change up of combat. A lot of people were like, oh, Black Flag was too easy. A lot of people were like, oh, I like the one-hit kills. I kind of like the Dark Souls mix. It's kind of funny because we saw that same sort of gameplay from Origins in Star Wars Fallen Order, except the AI is a little bit dumber. And then these last 2 I'm going to spend a little bit more time on. Number 2, The Last of Us, came out in 2013. Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson as Joel and Ellie. Really, really good fucking game. Enjoyed that game. It is one of the games I have yet to, and I really should. I have yet to platinum, and I was working on it, and then I missed one of the stupid shiv doors because there's an achievement to unlock all the shiv doors, and that's what I don't like about The Last of Us is if you go past like a certain point in a section of the game, you can't go back. So it's like you have to keep an eye out for like certain areas. So I was trying to platinum it and went past it and go back and do that. And another thing is that it was Naughty Dog, very good company. They did Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. They also did Jak and Daxter and Crash Bandicoot. And there is a documentary that you and everyone should watch. It's called The Grounded Documentary. It's about an hour to 2 hours on like the making of The Last of Us. And then you were talking about how was number 2 God of War for you?
Yeah.
And
number
no?
3, Odyssey
3.
was 2.
Got it. And you were saying for you the perfect game is Red Dead 2. For me, the perfect game is God of War because there is not, trying to make sure I'm right. Yeah, there's not another game that I've gone on the PlayStation and I physically sat down and I'm like, I want to beat this game, right? Like, get everything. And it was a shame I didn't pre-order the game, but it's because I didn't have a PS3. I didn't know that God of War was a thing. I didn't know that 3 previous games existed. So, when they announced it at E3, I was like, I don't know what the fuck the big deal is about him, having a son. I didn't understand it at that point. Then I saw it being played and I was like, oh, this looks really fun. And then I bought it myself and I went through and played it 4 times. Because I played it through twice and then I realized that I hadn't done the New Game Plus. So I went through and played it again and then I wanted to beat it on New Game Plus. And I beat it on the hardest difficulty on New Game Plus. And I platinumed it, got all the stupid ravens, defeated all the stupid Valkyries.
Oh.
Okay, the toughest Valkyrie is the last one. There's a video I want to show you after this. The toughest one is the Queen Valkyrie. I forget her name, but there's a video on YouTube, and Cory Barlog, who's the game director for God of War, reacted to it, and it's like a 30-second video of somebody dominating the Queen, and I was like, how the fuck? Because it took me like 3 or 4 days to beat her, to like figure out her tactics and everything. And the thing is, there was something that I saw, something that I watched that made me want to go back and play through the game on New Game Plus. I had played through the game 3 times, but I was waiting to play I was waiting to play the game again, right? And then they released, I don't know if you saw it or not. I think I've talked about it before. But then I watched the God of War Raising Kratos making of documentary.
Yes, you told me about this.
And if you go back, it's about 2 hours long, but I swear to God, if you go and watch that video, it will make you want to play the game again. And the story of how it like almost wasn't a thing, they were like, we should focus on a different game. They were like, we should take out the boy entirely. There's one point where they were like, we should get rid of Kratos entirely. And like how it all ended up coming together is incredible. It's an amazing story. The fact that, spoilers for the end of the game, if you haven't played it, please go watch it.
And if you haven't played it, you're
But
kind
I'm
of
not gonna say any like spoiler, but what I'm saying is the way that they made the ending of the first game to lead into the second one, because we know they're making a second one, technically a 5th one. And also, immediately after that video was released, Cory Balrog did a series of tweets. And I think I've told you about this, but I don't think I've said it on the podcast. If you go on Cory Barlog's Twitter, the one that says game director of God of War or whatever, PS4 game director, there's a series of tweets that are pinned. and the first letter of every tweet is capitalized. And if you take all of the tweets, there's a screen cap of this. If you look at all the tweets with the first letter, it's each tweet is like a different making of thing, like behind the scenes. If you put it all together, it spells Ragnarok is coming,
That's cool.
which is the supposed sequel, and I'm assuming we're going to get a sequel on the PS5. Not
That
to
would be a
mention,
cool exclusive PS5 to buy.
not to mention, what's it called? We know they're doing a sequel for God of War. We know that that's a fact because they're working on it. We know for a fact they're working on Horizon Zero Dawn 2. So it's like, I don't think either one of those are going to be launch titles, but I'm just saying God of War is my favorite. It's funny because, you know, most people are like, oh yeah, I'm going to pre-order this game, and this game, because you believe in it, because you pre-ordered it, is going to be like your game of the year, right? For me, I didn't pre-order God of War, and it's my favorite game of all time. And it and Last of Us are very close.
See, that's funny that you mentioned that because that's what I did for. I actually. Kind of funny that you mentioned.
Because for me, with Last of Us, it's the same type of thing where the ending of the game sets up for a sequel, and it's like, how are you going to take this masterpiece that you've already made? How are you going to possibly take that game and push the bar? And that's the thing that Naughty Dog has always been able to do, is they're like, okay, Uncharted 3, how can we make it better? Boom. And they take what they learned from Uncharted 3 to Last of Us, from Last of Us to Uncharted 4, from Uncharted 4 to their DLC that they did for Uncharted 4, and from their DLC, boom, to The Last of Us 2. And it's like, okay, how are other game companies going to take what they've learned? Like Santa Monica, they're going to take stuff from God of War, they're going to take stuff from The Last of Us Part 2, boom, they're going to make God of War 2. It's like, how are we, or 5, it's like, how are we going to set the bar that high? Ghost of Tsushima and its graphics, how are we going to, you know, how are other Sony studios going to compete with that? But also The Last of Us. That is the only video game to make me cry. And it was, spoilers again, but if you haven't like played through the game or seen it played, there's a very good playthrough coming through, by the way. It's by Retro Replay. The voice actors who actually did the game are playing through the game. And it's called The Definitive Playthrough Last of Us. Nolan North and Troy Baker.
Shout out.
Exactly, shout out. But
They're awesome.
have you been watching them at all?
Not really, but I follow them on Twitter.
Oh yeah, they're pretty funny.
I think I do. I need to re-download Twitter because I got a new phone, so I gotta re-download it.
I'm
But
not-
I think I follow them on Twitter.
I was gonna say, I'm not watching their Uncharted 2 stuff, but I'm watching their Last of Us. And when they get to Uncharted 3, I'll start watching that, and then 4. And then they're not really sure where they're going from there. A lot of people want them to play God of War because they're in God of War 2. But back to Last of Us. There's only one scene in a video game that's ever made me cry, and it was in The Last of Us. And it's the very beginning, that turning point where they go from that point to 20 years later. And I'm not going to say what happens, because if you know, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Keep talking. I don't remember, dude.
You don't remember?
I have the game for free. I just need to download it. No, I have it downloaded. I just need to play it.
Have you?
Actually, that's what I should play next.
You haven't played it?
No. Well, I'll actually no. But seriously, I don't have a game. I'm going to Crisis that next. Screw it, dude.
You should play through that
Yeah.
one. But what I'm saying
through
is,
next.
so I'm that's why I'm glad spoilers. So now you know the ending leads up to the sequel. And there's a part right before where it says 20 years later. It's a huge scene, so you won't miss it. You'll understand why I cried at that so hard. Anyways, that's my game of the year is God of War, not the last one. I mean, you could swap them either way. The whole point of this specific one is to give our expectations for next year. And the expectations are so high because Last of Us, you got the narrative. CD Projekt Red has to keep up their promise and their graphics and their gameplay mechanics to the gamers. And Last of Us 2 with their narrative. Did I already say that?
Yeah.
What was the other one? Get Tsushima with the graphics. The bar is so high, and we can only wait to play it, or play them, I should say.
Those are, I'd say, our three biggest games for next year. Because I will agree with you on that.
There was something on Twitter, real quick before we wrap up. Lego TT Games, who they're doing the Skywalker Saga Lego game. They announced that their game is coming out in 2020. Like, it's official. And I was like, I thought we already knew that. But okay. So that's another game that's coming out next year, I believe, to look forward to. But it just depends. We'll see.
Dinner Republic Commandos 2. That's all I want.
I'm still okay. So you're waiting for that. I'm waiting for KOTOR 3 to come out.
Which, I would love that too.
Which they've already said is kind of what the Old Republic is, and I'm kind of like, ugh, because it's an MMO, and I'm like, I'm not into that. I want an Old Republic movie or TV series. Oh, this was something else that I should add while we're here. Kathleen Kennedy, president of Disney, has said that Star Wars The Clone Wars made a comeback because fans requested it so much. And I think Kathleen Kennedy said that, and so did Dave Filoni.
What was the hashtag? Hashtag Save the Clone Wars?
Yeah.
So wait, this season will wrap it, right?
Supposedly, yeah.
I hope.
So I went through and I tweeted at them. It's on my Twitter feed. I was like, at Dave Filoni, at Kathleen Kennedy, please do a TV or movie series of KOTOR. Like a trilogy of the Old Republic would be nice. That's what fans have wanted. Or a TV series. But it's weird because I feel like with movies, you don't get as much filler as you do in a TV show. But if you do it as well as the Clone Wars did, and I'm saying the Clone Wars because The Mandalorian has a few filler episodes that fans don't really care for.
But that's with every TV show.
No, the Clone Wars, like, every episode is, like, golden.
I mean, that's fair.
Like, with The Mandalorian, I guess, like, not spoilers, but it's like episode 2 is kind of boring.
Tatooine.
Episode 5 is kind of boring. Because for me, it's pretty much, it's like, okay, 1, and then it skips to 6 and 7, right? Actually, no, wait, 4 is pretty good, because 4 is pretty good. But it's like, or is it 3? I think it's 3, 2 and 4, kind of, I don't know, whatever. It's just, there are filler episodes in every, like, TV show thing, and I feel like in movies, there's less of that. So it's like, plus, if it were a movie series, it would also be, like, high canon, and everybody that went to see it, it would be more
see Revan
more
on
people.
I want to see Revan on a movie screen, dude.
I would love to see him, like, in the chair.
His Mando mask.
Turn around like Palpatine, and he's got the 2 lightsabers. Oh my god. Alright, we're just a bunch of nerds. Alright, go check out the Raising Kratos documentary. It'll make you want to play God of War immediately. Same thing with the Ungrounded Last of Us. But for you, Fallen, don't watch the Grounded one, because you need to play it first.
I'll play that'll be my next game I play through is Last of Us, unless I got talking about Snake.
So that's it. That's been the holiday Christmas edition. Nothing really
Merry
Christmas about
everyone.
it. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Merry Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever your religion is. I don't fucking care.
Way to be inclusive, Jonah.
This will go up on Wednesday.
Or if you're Jehovah's Witness, screw the holidays.
This will be up Wednesday, the 25th, on Christmas Day, if I can get everything uploaded right. There is going to be probably like a 30 to 45 minute podcast we'll do with The Rise of Skywalker. I haven't seen it yet, and Jeremy's going out of town.
I'm not going to say any words. Because we're going to save that.
That will be that'll be the first podcast of the new year. I don't know if we'll do it on this one or if it'll be like a mini one. We'll see. Hopefully there'll be a lot of gaming news over the break.
Also, I would just like to say that I looked it up. Kingdom Hearts, that game I mentioned, came out in 2009, so check out everything I said. Thank you.
All right. See boys in the next podcast.
Happy holidays.